Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Warm greetings from Team Dentist Channel.online. We hope you all are doing well, safe, and are excited for a very interesting webinar. My name is Ruben. I am your friend, your moderator for this session, and it's my pleasure to welcome each and every one of you for this webinar. Very quickly, like we always do, I want you to type your full name and the city where you reside in the chat box. Dear participants, very quickly, I want you to kindly put your names and the city of your residence in the chat box. Let's do a quick introductory session before we move ahead with the webinar. Thank you, dear participants. With that, we are good to start with today's webinar. It's my privilege and my honor to welcome our speaker for today, Dr. Pavan Kumar. Dr. Pavan completed his BDS from the Government Dental College and Hospital, Hyderabad. He completed his MDS from Kamineni Institute of Dental Sciences, Hyderabad. He's won the best postgraduate student in periodontology from Indian Health Professional Awards 2016. He is the author of Biomarkers in Periodontal Disease from Lambert Publications. He is the part of editorial board in Contemporary Research, Journal of Multidisciplinary Sciences, and Journal of Dentistry. He has national and international publications on his credit, especially on platelet concentrates, PaOO, and TTPHIL technique. He was the PG mentor for Perio Samiksha 2018. He's been a guest speaker for state and national conferences on platelet concentrates. We welcome you, Dr. Pavan, to the webinar, and I invite you to kindly kickstart with your session on the topic platelet concentrates, Panacea of Regeneration. Over to you, Dr. Pavan.
Thank you for the introduction. My name is Dr. Pavan. I'm from Hyderabad, India. I completed my undergraduation from Government Dental College and Hospital, Hyderabad, and I completed my post-graduation from Kamineni Institute of Dental Sciences. I always thankful to my mentors and my teachers, the guide and co-guide of mine during my post-graduation. They taught me the implantology and the periodontics during my post-graduation days. They are very kind to me during the post-graduation. They helped me a lot. I always thankful to them. And I'm conducting various lectures and workshops on the platelet concentrates. And I was a mentor of Perio Samiksha. Perio Samiksha is a orientation, PG orientation program for the post-graduation students, those who are appearing final year post-graduation exams, like MDS exams in periodontics. I was a mentor for 2018 and 2019. And I took my favorite topic, biomarkers in periodontal disease. And I have been conducting various workshops on platelet concentrates. And besides that, I gave lectures in the national platforms on platelet concentrates like state dental conferences. Now we are going to our main topic, that platelet concentrates are Panacea of Regeneration. This webinar, I will discuss about the centrifugation, the types of centrifugation, and also the rationale of various protocols that was coined by various authors. And I'm not going to discuss about the use of platelet concentrates in facial aesthetics and regenerative endodontics. I will cover most of the topics on periodontics along with regeneration, and also the use of platelet concentrates in implantology. So first, before going to our main topic, I would like to tell about some terminology to understand what is regeneration. Regeneration is nothing but the reconstruction of an injured and lost part in a such a way that it restores both form and the function. So it mainly depends on cells, scaffolds, and the signaling molecules. Scaffolds are nothing but the collagen, the bone mineral, and the synthetics. So these are most of the materials we are used in our GBR procedures and guided tissue regeneration procedures. They are foreign materials. So like allografts, xenografts, and synthetically provide alloplast. Although they are the foreign materials to the body, they show a promising results in the regenerative medicine. The platelet concentrates has been evolving since 20 years. The major aim of the platelet concentrates to use human proteins for regeneration. The tissue regeneration mainly depends on the 4 steps of wound healing. What are the steps? Hemostasis, inflammation, proliferation, and maturations. There are 4 cells, platelets, macrophages, fibroblasts, and lymphocytes play a vital role in regeneration. Those materials which I mentioned in my previous slides, like allografts, xenografts, alloplasts, synthetics, they are devoid of vascular. They always depends upon the recipient blood supply. If there is a compromise in the recipient blood supply, there are always chances of failure of your augmentation. So how can you increase your vascularity of GBR procedure? So you can use platelet concentrates. These platelet concentrates consist of growth factors. These growth factors helps in the angiogenesis and also filtration of the various cells. So what are the growth factors? Growth factors are nothing but the proteins. They are the polypeptides. Our human body secretes more than 150 growth factors, and every growth factor has a different role, and every growth factor has a different role on different cell. The main growth factors that were secreted by platelet concentrates are VEGF, that is vascular endothelial growth factor, helps in the angiogenesis, and PDGF, platelet-derived growth factor, helps in the recruitment of the mesenchymal stem cells, and TGF beta, that is transdermal growth factor beta, helps in the proliferation of these cells, and fibroblast growth factor helps in the fibroblast proliferation. You can procure the growth factors by pure preparations and semi-pure preparations. The pure preparations are nothing but you are using the recombinant technology. By using of recombinant technology, you produce higher amount of single growth factor. The best example is GEM21S. That is consists of recombinant platelet-derived growth factor beta with beta-3 calcium phosphate. It was from FDA approved, and it was from Lynch laboratories. But it's very expensive. The results are constant. The results were very constant, and they are FDA approved. But it is very expensive. So how can you use that? You can use the semi-pure preparations. The semi-pure preparations are nothing but your platelet concentrates. Here we are using supraphysiological doses of platelets, and these platelets are capable of reducing the growth factor. So these are semi-pure preparations are nothing but your platelet concentrates. So how can you apply the supraphysiological doses of platelets? They are applying supraphysiological doses by using of centrifuge. As in us, there are 2 forces there, that is centripetal force and the centrifugal force. The centripetal force is always tries to drag the object towards the center, and the centrifugal force always push the subject toward away from the center. The centrifugation, the centrifuge depends on centrifugation process or centrifugal force. This centrifugal force is works using the sedimentation principle. The sedimentation is proportional to the volume of density of the number of the cells. As orbits are more number of the cells, so that's the reason when you do centrifugation, the RBC will accumulate on the bottom of the test tube. The plasma will accumulate upper part of the layer. So RBC, above the RBCs are neutrophils, because in WBC, the majority of the cells were neutrophils. So that's the reason after RBC, the cells are accumulated as neutrophils, lymphocytes, monocytes, platelets, and plasma. So this is order when you centrifuge a blood in a test tube. The centrifugation concept, the RCF, the relative centrifugal force, is mainly depends upon rotor radius and revolution per minute. What is rotor radius? This is the rotor axis. This is the rotor axis, and the distance between the two and the distance between the distance between the tube and the rotor axis is the distance between the tube and the rotor axis is called rotor radius. Rotor radius, and how it is revolution. That revolution per minute is called RPM. So it mainly the relative centrifugal force mainly depends upon the rotor radius and revolution per minute. If the RPM is same, but the rotor radius is different for suppose if there is a two centrifuges, the RPM is 115 RPM, okay, but one of the centrifuge, the rotor radius is 5 centimeters, and another centrifuge, the rotor radius is 6 centimeters. So obviously the 6 centimeters will create more amount of relative centrifugal force on the blade, on the test tube. If you see the literature, the older articles, those are published in the 2001, 2003 or 2004 onwards about the platelet-rich fibrin, they have mentioned about platelet-rich fibrin is 400 grams. But the recent articles and the book that was published exclusively on platelet-rich fibrin by Choukroun, they mentioned the RCF is relative centrifugal force is 708 grams. Why? What is the reason? See, when the force acts on the test tube is not always uniform. Upper part of the test tube shows less centrifugal force than the bottom of the test tube, because when you see the rotor radius, the upper part of the test tube is close to the rotor radius. So the force act on this upper part of the centrifuge is called RCF minimum, that is relative centrifugal force minimum. The lower part of the test tube, that is bottom of the test tube, it shows highest amount of the force, because the distance between the rotor radius and to the bottom of the test tube is more. So that's the reason the force act on the bottom of the test is more when compared to the force act on the upper part of the tube is more. I mean, the bottom of the test tube is more. So that is, it's called RCF maximum. The force act on the clot is called RCF clot. So the older articles, I mean, 2001, 2002 articles, those who mentioned relative centrifugal force for platelet-rich fibrin, L-PRF, is 400 grams. Is they are measuring that RCF clot. Because the older articles they are using intraspin, which is a FDA approved centrifuge, and the rotor angulation is 33 degrees, and the distance in the rotor in mm is 50 mm, and the RCF at the clot is 408 grams. So those articles who mention the 408 grams means they are measuring the force at the RCF clot, that is 408 grams at the RCF clot. Then you see the recent articles, especially from the Choukroun and the Miron, and also the textbook of PRF in regenerative dentistry, the Alb-PRF, the force was mentioned, RCF was mentioned is 708 grams. So they are measuring the 708 grams from RCF average. They are measuring that RCF average. They are measuring the RCF from the bottom of the test tube. And the PRF DO, rotor angulation is 40 degrees centigrade, and the rotor radius is 87 mm. So that's the reason. If you don't blindly follow the RCF is 400 grams. So if when you're preparing any research and when you're writing an article, or when you're doing any research on the platelet concentrates, you don't blindly follow the 400 grams. You should know the 400 grams where they are measuring, because the force was not at all uniform throughout the test tube. That's the most important point when you're doing any research or any dissertation or doing any writing in an article. So 408 grams for only for intraspin, and it was measured at RCF clot. That I want to say. So Here, the relative centrifugal force of different platelet concentrates, and they are measured at the bottom of the test tube. That is, these forces are OCF max, L-PRF 700 grams, A-PRF and A-PRF plus 200 grams, and I-PRF is 60 grams. So why these platelets is very important because they play a vital role in the wound healing process, and they are all capable of secreting the growth factors. The granules, the alpha granules which are present in the platelets, they are capable of secreting various growth factors that helps in the regeneration. The platelets are 2 to 4 micrometer in diameter. They are the discoid in shape, and they're called megakaryocytes. They are avascular or anuclear cells, and their half-life is 7 to 10 days. 7 to 10 days. That's the reason the PRF, the platelet concentrate, shows maximum effect up to 10 days or some 2 weeks. It's not behind that. Some studies showing that they can release the growth factor up to 23 days also. And it contains of alpha dense and glycogen granules. So when you're going to deep, the organelle zone contains of alpha granules. These alpha granules secretes a higher amount of the growth factors. Now we are going towards the platelet concentrates. That is the first generation platelet concentrate that is called platelet-rich plasma. Mox and Gerg first used PRP in the mandibular reconstruction defects. It is first generation platelet concentrate. It contains platelets and the coagulation factors and the plasma proteins. It contains maximum amount of platelets that can receive, that can able to release the desired growth factors like platelet-derived growth factor, TGF-beta, and insulin-like growth factor, etc. When you compare the normal clot with the PRP clot, the PRP clot contains 94% of platelets, 1% of WBC, and the 5% of RBC. But when you see the normal blood clot, the normal blood clot contains 94% of RBC, 6% of platelets, and 1% of WBC. So this is it. I mean, it's nothing but you're concentrating the platelets in your preparation, because if you're concentrating the platelets, these platelets are capable of releasing the growth factors. So there was no universal protocol for PRP. You can prepare the PRP by two methods, two techniques, that is open technique and the closed technique. What is the open technique? Here, the product is exposed to the environment of the working area, and it comes in contact with different materials that should be used for their production, such as pipettes or production collection tubes. In the closed technique, we are using the CE certified centrifuges, and we are using different test tubes and different commercially available PRP kits. So normally, basically the PRP follows two centrifugation concept. The first centrifugation is called soft spin, and the second one is called hot spin. The soft spin is the major important function of the soft spin is to remove the RBC from the remaining preparation, and then shift this platelet to plasma and the buffy core to the another test tube, and do hot spin, that is 3500 RPM for 15 minutes. And the main aim of this hot spin is to concentrate your platelet, concentrate the platelets in your preparation. So that led to the development of platelet-rich plasma. Here we are using the chemically coated tubes. We are using the anticoagulants. There are various anticoagulants available in the market, but the main anticoagulants we are using the preparation is sodium citrate or acid citrate dextrose. We don't use EDTA, as there are some articles they are mentioning they are using EDTA, but EDTA destabilizes the platelet membrane. If they destabilize the platelet membrane, there is a premature activation of the platelet, which does not help in the your aim of using the platelet-rich plasma. So this is various commercially available PRP kits in the market, and they are following two centrifugation concept, two centrifugation protocol, one centrifugation protocol. As I said, there was no universal protocol for PRP preparation. There was a classification by Helmholtz regarding the platelet concentrates that are classified into PPRP, LPRP, PPRF, LPRF. PRP is platelet-rich fibrin, that is a pure platelet-rich fibrin. LPRP is leukocyte platelet-rich fibrin. The classification is mainly based on the presence of leukocytes or presence or absence of leukocytes, and also depends on the fibrin meshwork, the structure of the fibrin meshwork. The PPRP, that is pure platelet-rich plasma, it is devoid of the leukocytes. It does not contain, does not contain the leukocytes, and the density of the fibrin meshwork is less. Then we are going towards LPRP, that is leukocyte platelet-rich fibrin. It contains of leukocytes. Then PPRF, that is platelet-rich fibrin, and divide of leukocytes, high fibrin structure. The fibrin meshwork is dense, very dense, not very dense when compared to the leukocyte platelet-rich fibrin. There was another classification of PRP by Maglone et al. It is based on DEPA. DEPA means dose, efficiency, purity, and activation. Dose means dose of injecting platelets. It depends, dose of injecting platelets. So how much dose? The I purity. Dose is I purity, that is 5 billions. If I dose of injecting platelet means the preparation contains of 5 billions of platelets. The efficiency means the reproducibility. It 90%. The preparation has more than 90% reproducibility or recovery rate. It is higher efficiency. The purity of the preparation, if it contains of more than 90% of platelets, it's more pure. So this is Magnone's classification of PRP. So there are various clinical applications or available in the literature. We can use PRP in infertility defects, sinus lip procedures, augmentation, socket preservation, extraction of wounds, so the third molar extractions, and also bone regeneration around the implants. But the limitations are you're using the anticoagulants. These anticoagulants hinders the healing, and they can create the allergic reaction. And there is a lack of uniformity in the PRP protocol. Another thing is the PRP secretes the growth factor instant because of the fibrin meshwork is tetramolecular configuration, and which not favorable for cytokine enrichment, and also the release of the growth factors are very fast and instant in the rapid release of the growth factors. But we require a prolonged release of the growth factors for the regeneration. These are some cases of using of PRP in informal defects. So after debriding the defect, parental defect, the informal defect, you make the PRP and mix the PRP with the bone graft and place in the defect. These are the radiograph shows bone formation at the defect area. You can use PRP in gingival recession cases. Here, the connective tissue graft, which is the gold standard for the regeneration purpose, you immerse with PRP and use this place this in the recipient area. So this shows a promising results. If you see the report of one of the case report, the pre-operative and post-operative compares. So there is less amount of precision when compared to the pre-operative photograph. And you can use PRP in augmentation. In this, you can mix with the PRP with the bone graft, or you can place the PRP on a titanium mesh, which helps in the reconstruction defects. As you remember, the first case was reported by Knox and Glug. They are using the PRP in mandibular reconstruction defects. So we won't forget that. And the Addanki Gurk, who is the co-pioneer of PRP, he modified the protocols for making the PRP for universal use. So you can obtain PRP liquid. This PRP liquid is for facial aesthetics. The protocol is 1000 RPM to 2000 RPM, 8 to 12 minutes. PRP gel, you can mix with PRP gel with bone graft material. Use PRP gel with bone graft material you can use for augmentation or bone defects. The protocol is 1000 RPM to 1500 RPM for 5 minutes. With PRP membrane, the protocol is same. Here the PRP membrane you use for extraction sockets, extraction socket preservations, and also third molar extractions. The PRP extract you use after compressing the PRP membrane, you can get the extract. This extract consists of growth factors. So you can mix these growth factors with the big extract with the bone graft material, and you can use for augmentation and intraoperative effects. That is the protocol was same. The PRP plaque used for soft preservation cases. Gummy bone in 3005 RPM for 2 to 4 minutes. Here you can get the liquid or liquid PRP. Then you mix this liquid PRP with bone graft material and wait 5 to 10 minutes. You will get the sticky bone-like structure. So you can use for this for augmentation because it prevents the displacement of the graft material and helps in the stability of the graft. So this we have gummy bone and PRP with heated proteins, 1000 to 200 RPM for 8 to 12 minutes to improve languidity of the PRP membrane. And these are the various studies in the literature. Those show the positive effect and the negative effect, negative studies. Positive studies means there was a decrease in the probing pocket depth, decrease in the clinical attachment loss, decrease in the bleeding and probing, and there is an improvement in the bone formation in the defect. So these are various studies. There are the positive and negative studies of the PRP. Now, PRGF, that is the platelet-rich growth factor. It is sort of two centrifugation concept, two centrifugation protocol. We are using one single centrifugation, and the RPM is 1903 RPM for 8 minutes. The RCF is 460 grams for 8 minutes, and the Anitwa is a pioneer of PRGF. It did one study. It's 2016. In 2016, what he did is he reduced the concentration of thrombin and the concentration of the chemical materials, and it shows there is an improve in wound healing process. Now we are going towards second generation concentrate for HP. It is first developed by Choukroun et al. In the France. Nice. Used platelet-rich fibrin in diabetic foot infection cases. And the major difference between the PRP and the PRF is it divide of anticoagulants. It divide of bone thrombin or thrombin, so it does not produce any immune reaction or allergic reaction or foreign body type of reaction. And the clot is pure. The clot in the PRP is pure biological. It follows the normal path of coagulation cascade system, and the RPM is 2700 RPM for 12 minutes. This is a PRF structure. It contains of different cells, platelets, leukocytes, and red cells, and it contains of fibrin matrix, including the fibronectin and veterinectin. There's addition of these cells to the membrane, and they have contents of various growth factors, a PGF, VEGF, the vascular endothelial growth factor, epidermal growth factor, insular growth factor, these growth factors. How the PRF form, you take the blood and you centrifuge it at 400 grams for 12 minutes. Here I'm mentioning about intraspin. Okay, the centrifuge was used this intraspin, and then you get 3 layers. When the 3 layers were separated, the first layer was PPP, that is platelet plasma. The lowest layer was RBC. The middle layer contains of PRF, the platelet-rich fibrin. It follows the intrinsic pathway of coagulation. The intrinsic pathway of coagulation starts with Ekman factor. The other name of Ekman factor is glass. So you are using the glass tube, or you are using the silica-coated plastic tubes. I mean, for PRP preparation, mostly we are using the glass tubes only. When the blood intact with the glass, the Ekman factor activation occurs. This Ekman factor is nothing but the glass factor, which activates the intrinsic pathway of coagulation. They led to the activation of the common pathway of coagulation, that is conversion of prothrombin into thrombin, and thrombin converts the fibrinogen into fibrin in the presence of thrombin. Thus, the thrombin is act as a positive regulator. So, led to the formation of a fibrin, that is called platelet-rich fibrin, which contains of platelets and contains of fibronectin, the fibronectin, which helps in the addition of these platelets and the leukocytes to the fibrin meshwork, led to the formation of platelet-rich fibrin clot. So these are the various applications of PRF. You can use PRF for infrabony defects. In this, you are making a PRF and compress the PRF with PRF membrane and cut the PRF and mix with the bone graft and use this mixture for the infrabony defects. And you can use this mixture for percussion defects also. You can use the PRF as an alternative to the connective tissue graft, but there should be one fundamental rule. If there should be adequate amount of cartilage gingiva, it should be there when you are using PRF alone act as a graft material for soft tissue graft material for regeneration. There should be at least 2 mm of sufficient cartilage gingiva should be there for using of PRF as a treatment modality for gingival resection. And you can use PRF for socket preservation cases, but all the not cases are not, you can't use PRF as a solo graft material for socket preservation cases. The socket should be contained, but that means it should presence of 4 walls, the mesial, distal, and buccal and palatal or lingual and also apical wall should be there by using the PRF as a socket preservation case. And the most important point is there should be 1.5 to 2 mm of buccal bone should be there. Then only you can use PRF as a solo graft material. And also you have to recall the patient after 4 months. After 4 months, not 6 months of the socket preservation, because the literature was mentioned, so much literature saying that you have to recall the patient for 4 months when you are using PRF as a solo graft material for socket preservation cases. How do you prepare that? You after taking the PRF, place the PRF into the well and compress it. You will get the PRF plaques and place the PRF plaques in the sockets. I will go and I will show you into the videos how the PRF is made. In that time, I will discuss about what is the face, what is the tail, what is the proximal end, what is the distal end of the PRF in my next slides. So here you have to place a face towards the exposure side. Face is nothing but the RBC junction, the Buffy coat RBC junction is called face, or also it is called proximal head. Some literature was mentioned as a face, some literature it was mentioned as a proximal head. The distal end is towards the plasma and tail is towards the plasma. So you use the RBC junction, the BC RBC junction as called as a phase because it contains of higher amount of platelets. There are higher amount of platelets and the leukocytes were accumulated here. That I will discuss in when I am discussing about advanced protocols. I will discuss in very deeply about this face and tail, proximal and distal end. So this is a schematic representation of socket preservation. When you are using the PRF as a solo graft material for sinus augmentation, like a lateral window approach or crustal sinus approaches, you can use. But not all the cases you can't use PRF as a solo graft material. The narrow sinus cases, you can use PRF as a solo graft material, especially the mesodistal width is less than 7 mm. In that sinuses, you are using PRF as a solo material. Here the implant acts as a tent coat, and besides that, the student membrane is a potentially osteogenic potential, has an osteogenic potential led to the bone formation around the implant. And the son who is tremendously working on this, he used CGF, concentrated growth factor, alone for almost all cases with his own protocol of IPC, along with this CGF membrane used alone. And also there is an internal sinus elevation by using a port technique. I mean, you puncture the sinus, then use a CGF membrane, push the CGF membrane, then place the bone graft in that CGF membrane and place the implant. There was a literature was available from that also. And you can use the PRF in implant surgeries. You can import it, the PRF liquid will place before placing into the osteodome. After preparing the osteodome, you place an implant into the PRF concentrate, the liquid PRF or PRF membrane. You can coat the PRF membrane, or you can smash the PRF membrane and place the PRF membrane on the implant, and then shift these implants into the osteotome, which helps in the osteointegration. There was some studies was mentioning that this improves your osteointegration of the implant. This is called biological modification of implant. Some studies was stated that. Then you can make a PRF block. In that PRF block, it is here the mission was intraspin. This FDA scientific mission was used. They are used a combination of two tubes, plastic tube and glass tubes or glass coated silica tubes were used. The white tubes were the plastic tubes. What the protocol is? You 2,700 RPM for 3 minutes. After that, you remove the two white tubes and obtain the liquid and wait for that, and continue the centrifugation for another 9 minutes. 9 minutes. Then you will get the PRF membranes, PRF. Then compress it. You will get the PRF membrane and cut the PRF membrane and mix with the bone graft and inject the PRF liquid, which was you obtained at 2,700 RPM for 3 minutes by using of non-coated tubes, and wait for 5 to 10 minutes. Wait for 5 minutes, and you will get the block, PRF block, which helps in your augmentation purposes. It is like a sticky bone tag. So there is a various studies, but the positive studies means it is using of probing pocket depth and the clinical detachment loss. There is a formation of bone, there is a bone film, and there is an increase in the keratinized width. So these are the different studies quoted in the literature about the PRF. So what is the difference between the PRP and PRF? The PRP is the first generation platelets concentrate, and in PRP we are using anticoagulants. And the polymerization, the fibrin polymerization depends upon the concentration of the thrombin and the calcium that was present in the second tube. So if the calcium and thrombin is more, this reaction accelerates further and the faster. And the 3D structure is tetramolecular configuration. So it is not favorable for cytokine enrichment and cellular migration. And we are using as a PRP as a gel. When PRF, it is the structure was flexible network. It's a trimolecular configuration, which helps in the cytokine enrichment and also cellular migration is possible. You can use as a PRF as a membrane. Here you are not using any anticoagulants. Excuse me 1 minute. Now we are going towards protocols, advanced protocols. The advanced protocols you can broadly divide by changing the tube, first one, or lower centrifugation concept. And third one is alternative centrifugation protocol, or different centrifugation protocol. That is, instead of using fixed angle centrifugation concept, we are using a horizontal centrifugation concept, and or modify by adding of albumin with the PRF, which helps in the longevity of PRF. So when we are going for titanium PRF, the Choukroun described the unavailable silica contact. As he said that as I mentioned, some of the manufacturers are using the silica coated plastic tubes. So there is a chance of silica may silica may release. It may may suspended in the buffy coat. Most of the times the silica is very dense, so it is normally segmented with the red cells, but there is a small amount of in a fraction that colloidally suspend in the buffy coat and the fibrin and platelet to plasma layers. So these particles may reach the patient when the product used for that treatment. So instead of that silica coated plastic tube, so why can't you use a titanium tube? Because the titanium, normally we are using all the implants or it's made of titanium type 4 or type 5 or newer materials will come. Okay, but the titanium is a very biocompatible. So why can't you use titanium tube instead of glass tube or silica coated the glass tube? That led to the development of titanium PRF by Mustafa Chinali from Turkey. It is called titanium PRF, that is titanium enriched PRF. When compared to the L-PRF, that leukocyte platelet-rich fibrin, the titanium PRF shows a more tightly woven, a thicker structure than the classical structure. And the difference why this is more thicker and more woven is maybe due to the hemocompatibility and biocompatibility of the titanium, led to the formation of more polymerized fibrin. So we, in our dental school, we did study. My junior was did a dissertation on this topic with the help of my co-guide and my guide, and they found that in histological evolution, the titanium PRF showed more fibrin meshwork, a thick fibrin meshwork, and thick woven fibrin meshwork when compared to the L-PRF in histological studies, and it was supported by SEM analysis also. The SEM analysis also showed thicker fibrin structure and thick woven fibrin meshworks when compared to the L-PRF. So, as when you remember my previous slides, I mentioned 3 protocols: L-PRF 700 grams, A-PRF 208 grams, and I-PRF I mentioned 60 grams, right? So these protocols are mainly depends on the lower centrifugation protocol. So there is no gimmick or there is nothing fancy is there. It is a simple physics. See, there are you take two cork balls. Normally they are fan of crickets, no? So you take some 2 cork balls of same size, and you use more amount of force on one ball, that is called X ball, that is 700 grams, okay? And you use 208 grams on Y ball and just throw it from some height. So if you use more force, it will reach faster to the earth, right? So if you decrease the force, it won't travel like the first ball traveled that much. So this is a lower centrifugation concept. So in the lower centrifugation concept, what happens that you are decreasing the force and increasing the time. This is an initial study by 2014 by Choukroun. What the observation was by Choukroun is that there is a decrease in the RPM with an increase in the centrifugation in the A-PRF, that is advanced platelet rich fibrin, showed that the cells were distributed even. The platelets were distributed even. When you compare with L-PRF, the cells were distributed towards the distal end, that is RBC and buffy coat junction. But here, A-PRF, the distribution of the platelets were uniform, and also the neutrophils, you can procure more number of neutrophils in the preparation, and there is a distribution of the neutrophils also uniform throughout the structure when compared to the L-PRF. So that led to the you can obtain more amount of the growth factors. How neutrophils helps the growth factors? The major aim of the neutrophil is the first line of the defense. Besides the first line of the defense, the another aim of the neutrophil is to activate the macrophage. monocyte. Then monocyte turn into the macrophage, right? The activated monocyte is also capable of releasing the growth factors. So there are two cells, that is platelet. Beside platelets, another cell is macrophage or monocyte, also capable of releasing the growth factors. So in lower centrifugation concept, you are using leukocytes along with platelets for increasing the level of the growth factors, which helps in the regeneration. This is the funda for all lower centrifugation concepts. See, so if your low speed centrifugation concept, there is an increase in the inflammatory cells and growth factors. The protocol is PRP, as mentioned, is 7 or 8 grams, and a-PRF is 208 grams, and the a-PRF plus is 208 grams, but the protocol is those 1300 RPM. The initial protocol by Choukroun is 1500 RPM, 14 minutes of a-PRF. That was later modified by the Choukroun. The later protocol of a-PRF is 1300 RPM for 40 minutes. a-PRF plus is 1300 RPM for 8 minutes, and a-PRF liquid, that is 1300 RPM for 5 minutes, and i-PRF is 700 RPM for 3 to 4 minutes. The 3 minutes is for females and males for 4 minutes. That I will discuss why it is difference between males and females in my next slides. So this is a protocol of a-PRF, 13 RPM for minutes. So the advanced platelet concentrate shows more porous and lighter and large intrafibrous space when compared to the PRF. The platelets were even distributed throughout the interclot, not like the BC or BC junction in L-PRF. And another thing is enhanced more number of inflammatory cells, our neutrophil granulocytes in the preparation, advanced preparation. See, this is a picture obtained from the lower centrifugation concept by PRF book. So if you see the CD34 cells, the CD34 cells are representation of stem cells, and CD15 cells or the representation of neutrophil granulocytes. See the comparison of neutrophil granules, those in yellow color. See the distribution here. See the distribution here. This is a BCC junction. So the distribution of the cells were here, but the distribution is even uniform. The platelets were uniform. The distribution of the cells are uniform in the A-PRF. And also you see the CD34 cells. These CD34 cells are nothing but hematopoietic stem cells, which were less than compared to the which was more when compared to the PRF. So this is a protocol, lower centrifugation concept. The later is fibrin dense structure, less leukocytes, and the porous structure in the more leukocytes. So this is the first in vivo study by Choukroun and Kumar, and this study it shows that more significantly enhanced vascularization and more amount of human leukocytes was placed there in a-PRF. This is another protocols of a-PRF. The a-PRF plus is 1300 RPM, 8 minutes. Here minutes for time was decreased. So more you can get more amount of more growth factors, more amount of inflammatory cells. And the a-PRF liquid is 1300 RPM for 5 minutes. So this is a video showing the preparation of advanced platelet-rich fibrin. Along with, I will discuss about how will you procure, how will you make PRF. This is centrifugation is a made in India centrifuge by Sitanshu Vora Bharadwaj from Delhi. I was thankful to him because he gave me these videos for my preparation, as my webinar preparation. So here the you vaccinator to the butterfly, and always the butterfly needle should be less. You have to use a shorter butterfly needle. If you use a shorter butterfly needle, then the collection of is very fast in the tube. This was I learned from Miron course, Miron PRF course. He said that you have to use a shorter needle. So by that you can collect the blood very fastly, and also the collecting of the blood is inversely proportional to the vacuum. If the vacuum is more, it will take time to fill the tube with blood. It will take more time to fill that blood. So always use low vacuum tubes for preparation, platelet concentrates preparations. And you have to use a tourniquet, and the tourniquet should be applied 2 to 3 inches above the arm, and you have to procure the blood from the antecubital vein or brachycephalic vein or the M trunk, and the angulation is angulation of the is around 15 to 30 degrees. The butterfly angulation, needle angulation should be in there 15 to 30 degrees while procuring the blood. You can use ventilite also for it will helps to identification of the vein during the vein puncture, and always to use disinfect ethyl alcohol or any alcohol based substitutes for disinfection. So we are making advanced platelet rich fibrin. So we are using the glass coated silica tubes. Always balance should be there, and it should be opposite. So this is a membrane preparation. See the tensile strength of a PRF membrane. So how the effect of age and gender and time between the blood draw and the, so there was a nice article was published by Biron and Anikadam. It was saying that you have to shift the blood from collect the blood and shifting into the centrifuge within 90 seconds. If you take 20 minutes, there was a decrease in the 23% size in the membrane, and always the size of the membrane is inversely proportional to the your hemocrit concentration. Concentrate. So when compare the males and females, females has less hemocrit than the males. So the female shows larger membranes with less cells when compared to the males. And when compared to the female to female, older and younger shows more hemocrite when compared to the older ones. So older people shows more larger membranes than younger ones. So which group has a larger membrane is younger females. Sorry, older females, larger membrane, because younger is more hemocrit. So hemocrit is inversely proportional to the size of the membrane. So that is a thing, but the cells for per unit area is less when compared to the males. So that is most important thing. And another thing is 120 second, and so 90 seconds you have to shift the blood from the collection area to the centrifuge. If you wait for 120 seconds, that is 2 minutes, there is a 23% decrease in the size of the membrane. And now we come to the anemia. Anemia, there was a theoretically, but not proven it. There was no studies at there. But anemia is it contains low hemocrit, less hemocrit, right? So less hemocrit, there is a chance of getting large size membranes with less cells. And also, more hemocrit requires more time to centrifuge. So you require additional 1 minute. If you're doing the same protocol, you require additional 1 minute uh, for centrifugation process. So that's the reason i-PRF, F, i-PRF, M. i-PRF is 700 RPM, 3 minutes. i-PRF M is 700 RPM, 4 minutes. So that's the reason. So the time is either you have to, time is proportional to the hemocrit. If the hemocrit is more, and you have to add additional 1 minute time for, or you have to increase the RCF. So when I was discussed with Rick Miron, who is one of the pioneer in the PRF, bio-PRF, I asked him, so how can you use when patient was younger male, what is our protocol? He said that normally he used the 700 gram for 8 minutes. Instead of that, he increased the RCF, 900 grams for 8 minutes for the preparation. So either you increase the RCF or either you increase the time. The i-PRF protocol is 700 RPM for 3 to 4 minutes. So in contrast to the glass tubes in the solid PRF matrices, here we are using plastic tubes that do not plastic tubes. So the plastic tubes do not activate the coagulation cascade during the centrifugation. So after centrifugation, the i-PRF separates into two layers. So the blood is separated into two layers. That is yellow-orange upper phase, and the lower was red cell fraction. The yellow-orange upper phase is called i-PRF. That is injectable PRF, and the i-PRF is in fluid phase up to 10 to 50 minutes. Why? Because the clotting time is 10 minutes, 10 to 50 minutes. So that's the reason it is up to 10 minutes, it's in liquid state. So now the comparison of different platelet concentrates. This was studied by Kobayashi and Viran, and they studied that the more number of the cells the more number of the growth factors were present in the i-PRF when compared to the a-PRF and a-PRF plus. Here the making is called as sticky bone preparation. So you are getting the i-PRF liquid and mix with the bone graft material. Then this you can use for your augmentation purposes. i-PRF not alone used as regenerative uh, in regenerative defects because it requires the bone material or bone graft. i-PRF you can use for soft tissue procedures like your papillary reconstruction procedures or knee injuries, tendon injuries. So you can use it. It shows it has higher amount of growth factors, CD34 cells, which is the hematopoietic stem cells. Yeah, we're using plastic tubes. As I said, that if we use a plastic tube, the plastic tube delays the coagulation cascade system when compared to the glass tube. So you can obtain two layers. That was upper and lower layer. Lower layer is RBC, and the upper layer was orange yellow color liquid, which is i-PRF liquid. That is gold liquid. You can the sticky. This is a sticky bone. So you can use this sticky bone for augmentation purposes or reconstruction defects, which helps. Which prevents the displacement of the bone graft material during the reconstruction and the augmentation times defects. And so up to now we discussed about the centrifugation concept. Now we are discussing about the alternative centrifugation concept. Unlike PRF using constant centrifugation speed, CGF, the concentrated growth factor, utilize the alternative centrifugation protocol to produce much larger, denser, and rich fibrin matrix that containing higher amount of growth factors. It is SACOS 2006, this protocol, that is CGF, concentrated growth factor. Here, instead of constant centrifugation, like 2000 RPM 12 minutes, he altered the centrifugation from 2400 RPM to 2700 RPM for 12 minutes. So to obtain larger, denser, rich growth factor fibrin structure. After centrifugation, same like as PRF, this shows 3 different layers. The upper layer was PPP, that is platelet pure plasma. The layer was RBC, but the middle layer consists of concentrated growth factors. Why they are using alternative centrifugation? As the claim that claim that the alternative centrifugation from 2400 RPM to 2007 RPM led to the activation of platelets, more activation of the platelets. So that led to the more amount of growth factors per area. So this was a thing came from the SACOS. Later it was modified by Son, one of the iconic surgeon, oral maxillary surgeon, and who used extensively CGF in almost all procedures, and who is a pioneer of sticky bone trademark 2010. And he's one of the pioneer of it. He's used extensively this concentrated growth factor for almost all his cases. Then it was modified by Son. The modification is that he used a different centrifuge, that is Medifuge. First 30 seconds acceleration, then 2 minutes 2700 first 30 seconds acceleration, and then 2 minutes 2700 RPM, then 4 minutes 2400 RPM, then 2700 RPM for 4 minutes, 3000 RPM for 3 minutes, then 36 seconds de-acceleration and stop. At the end of the process, you will get 3 layers. That 3 layers are upper layer is platelet-rich separated with plasma. Second layer is CGF. Third layer is RBC. So then the Rodella studied the growth factors in CD3 positive cells in the concentrated growth factors, and said that the transdermal growth factor beta 1, which helps in the proliferation of these cells, vascular endothelial growth factor helps in the angiogenesis present in the CGF. Besides that, CD34 positive cells, the CD34, the cluster differentiation 34 cells were his stem cell for hemopoietic cells. These are the stem cells. So these were, you get higher amount of VDGF, vascular endothelial growth factor, transdermal growth factor beta, CD34 cells. This was one of the nice article. This was published by Rodella for checking the level of growth factors in CD34 cells and the fibrin meshwork in concentrated growth factors. So there are studies, interesting studies that was compared with 2 different protocols, the advanced platelet-rich fibrin and the concentrated growth factor. Advanced platelet-rich fibrin follows the Lorenz centrifugation concept. The protocol was 39 RPM for 40 minutes, whereas concentrated growth factor is follows the alternative centrifugation concept. It was followed the 2400 RPM for 2 to 12 minutes, and it was later modified by Son. And the conclusion was very interesting. Although the centrifugation conditions are different, a-PRF and CGF are prepared by essentially identical mechanisms. Therefore, it is convenient that both membranes have similar mechanical and chemical properties. This is one of the interesting article that compares a-PRF with CGF and says that CGF and a-PRF is almost identical in mechanical and the chemical properties. Now, autologous fibrin glue, instead of 12 minutes, I mean 2400 to 12 minutes, we are centrifugation time is 2 to 12 minutes. To get a higher amount of growth factors, the centrifuge stopped after 2 minutes of centrifugation. And like i-PRF, here also the layers. The upper layer was a liquid layer and lower was a BC layer. That is upper layer is called autologous fibrin glue. This autologous fibrin glue you mixed with the bone graft material and waits for 5 to 10 minutes. That led to the polymerization, led to the production of sticky bone, which is yellow in color. For accelerating the polymerization of autologous fibrin glue, you can use extrude from the concentrated growth factor and add that concentrated extrude of concentrated growth factor with AGF and particular brown graft material. That led to the accelerating the reaction, led to the formation of red color sticky bone. So this is the two varieties: sticky bone, yellow color one, and red color one. So you can use sticky bone for mandible reconstruction defects, for around the implants, guided bone infusion procedures also. Now another variety is spindleized plasma matrix. It was coined by Tolosi from in France. It was modified by Hel Mohe. And here, same like all liquid preparations, we are using non-coated. It contains of mineralized phase and the plasmatic phase. So the protocol is 39 RPM for 3 minutes. So you will obtain same two layers, upper and lower RBC layer. Upper layer, obtain the upper layer and mix with the bone graft material and wait. Then you will get a sticky bone-like structure. And here is after obtaining the liquid, you mix the bone graft material. The bone graft is nothing but the calcium that activates the extrinsic pathway of coagulation that led to the reaction within uh, minutes, within seconds to minutes. So this was claimed by El Moher, and it was little modified as advanced mineralized plasma matrix, that is 500 RPM for 3 minutes. So another there's bio-PRF. There is follows the horizontal centrifugation. As I said, that the force was not uniform throughout the test tube. The force, the relative centrifugal force was maximum at the bottom of the test tube when compared to the upper part of the test tube. So when you when the tube was placed perpendicular to the long axis, the rotor axis. So that is called horizontal centrifugation. So which led to the better separation of the RBC from the rest of the preparation, and it was claimed that there was more number of leukocytes and platelets 4 times than that of the fixed rectangular centrifugation, and less damage to the cells and uniform distribution of platelets and leukocytes. It was pioneered by Rick Miron. So this was the thing. When you see the rotor axis from the tube at the bottom of the test tube, here the distance between the bottom of the test tube to the rotor axis is more when compared to the distance between the rotor axis to the clot is less when fixed angle centrifugation. So that's the reason, as he claimed, that if you want to prepare any preparation, the time taking is 50 minutes. That you can obtain same quality of preparation in horizontal centrifugation within 10 minutes, by as it was claimed by Rick Miron. And there is evidence. He used glass tubes for preparations. As I said that there is a silica contamination was there. I mean, silica may accumulate in the puffy coat, which may create problems to the patient. The puffy coat, the silica is suspended to the puffy coat, so which is hazardous to the patients. So that's the reason he used a glass tubes. A glass tube is a hydrophilic glass tube. Okay, and for liquid preparations, he used PET plastic hydrophobic tube, and the PRF protocol is your solid PRF protocol is 700 grams for 8 minutes. Here there 708 grams for 12 minutes. So for when using fixed angle centrifugation, the liquid PRF is 300 grams for 5 minutes. There it is 700 grams for 3 to 4 minutes. So how can you check the impurity in the glass tubes? You take a glass tube and place in the running water, and you shake it. If you get a foam that the tube was contents of impurities, or maybe the silica, the glass, if it is a plastic tube, maybe the silica coated tube, the silica particles may release into the plastic tube, into the plastic tube, because this is a one method you can check the purity of tube. It may contain any chemicals, or it may contain any impurities in the tube. So you take the water and place the, you place that, take the tube, place under the tap water, and shake it, and you will get a foam. If you get a foam, that there should be any impurities in the test tube. This was a test, and it is I learned from this test from the Miron. And Miron, one thing is pointed is a concentrated PRF. The protocol is 2000 grams for 8 minutes. So what is that? According to him, the first 4 layers of PRP didn't have any cells. The 5th layer, the puffy coat above the RBC layer, contains of higher amount of the cells. Higher amount of cells, that is called, that 0.3 to 0.5 ml is called concentrated platelet-rich fibrin. So the concentrated fibrin, the concentrated platelet, the 0.3 to 0.5 ml of concentrated platelet-rich fibrin contains more number of platelets per area and leukocytes per area when compared to the i-PRF. So when you compare to the i-PRF, there is a 10-fold increase in the platelets and leukocyte health were observed when you're using the concentrated PRF. Another one is albumin PRF. Whatever we mentioned in the all PRF, the PRF is resolved within 2 weeks. Some studies were saying that it can release up to 23, the growth factors up to 23 days. But for, as you remember the past principle, primary closure, angiogenesis, and stability in the space maintenance. For the stability in the space maintenance, we require the membrane should be there at least 3 months, more than 3 months, 3 to 4 months. So, but the PRF is resolved within 2 weeks by biological degradation of fibrinolysis, fibrinolysis. Okay, so to improve the longevity of the PRF membrane, to use as a PRF membrane as a biological membrane, and to improve the half-life of PRF membrane, then the Muren and Kobayashi came with a protocol, and with Carlos Mario, they came with a protocol that is called Albumin PRF. Albumin PRF. So albumin, as I know that albumin is one of the protein which helps in to maintain the oncotic pressure in the body, and also this act as a carrier for various materials. This carrier for proteins, some growth hormones, some growth factors, hormones, and some drugs. So the albumin has a various amount of actions. Various actions are there. Albumin. So this albumin is a very friendly nature. I mean, very friendly to the body. I mean, it is a biological. I mean, autologous and biological plausible. So what they are using that they centrifugate the whole blood at 700 grams for 8 minutes, and they collect the upper layer of the liquid PRF, and heat that upper layer of the PRF for 70 degrees for 10 minutes. So that led to the formation of albumin. Okay, this albumin we cool to the body temperature. That led to the formation of albumin gel. Then you collect the liquid PRF, that middle layer. I mean, contains of buffy coat and liquid PRF into buffy coat layer, and mix with this albumin gel to the liquid PRF by using by using female component, and you will get a nice sticky type of structure, which is albumin PRF. In rat model study was done for albumin PRF, and they showed that there is a persistence of albumin PRF when compared to the control side where they used normal PRF membrane. That is albumin CGF, that is concentrated growth factor. Here, after Medifuse, as I said that they used specialized centrifuge for Medifuse, you will get CGF, the upper layer, that is platelet pure plasma, shifted to the ABAG machine, the same 700 degrees for 10 minutes, and then led to the albumin formation of albumin, cool it for 10 minutes, led to the albumin gel, and mix with that LPCGF, okay, and then you will see the thick membrane structure that is called albumin CGF. Albumin CGF, and which has a resorption time. I mean, the albumin PRF has a capable of stay up to 4 months, 3 to 4 months. So as the studies were going on, till now, rat model study was done by Miron Kobayashi along with Choukroun and along with Carlos Mario. And they claimed that there is a persistence. They showed that the persistence of PRF membrane even after 3 to 4 months into the rat model study. So this is a brief summary of all the protocols: PRP, Alb-PRF, T-PRF, A-PRF, i-PRF, i-PRF plus. i-PRF plus, we are using instead of 10 ml tube, they are using 13 ml tube. And the protocol is 700 RPM for 5 to 6 minutes, 5 minutes for females, 6 minutes for males. And it is mainly used for orthopedic and cosmetic purposes. Autologous fibrin glue and concentrated growth factor. And so these are the various test tubes used for the for different preparations. PRP for chemical coated tubes, Alb-PRF and A-PRF use glass coated or silica coated plastic tubes, i-PRF non-coated tubes, i-PRF plus non-coated tubes for 13 ml tubes, plastic tubes, CGF glass coated, AGF non-coated, and S-PRF. S-PRF is a newer version of Choukroun, a newer version of i-PRF. Instead of using the i-PRF tube, that orange color tubes, here using green color tubes. And the protocol was same for, and the plastic which were used is different from other competitor as he mentioned by the Choukroun, but the result, but the publication has not yet published. We are waiting for that publication to read that article. What is SPRF actually? But SPRF, as he mentioned, that Choukroun mentioned that there was a tricky in the tube, but we don't know what is the tricky. But the protocol was same, 700 RPM per 3 to 4 minutes. And titanium PRF, we are using glass, grade 4 titanium tubes for making of titanium enriched platelet-rich fibrin. So now we are going towards evidence-based. What's evidence-based saying about use of platelet-rich fibrin in regenerative dentistry? This was a systematic review published by by iconics in the dentistry. There was Miron, Giucelli, and Picos, Salama brothers, Sam Lee. So what they are saying, and it was Meron and Shoram Genti. So what they are saying that till now the studies were favor for using of PRP is very good for in majority studies demonstrate favorable results in soft tissue management and repair, and also in periodontal infrabony defects. And it requires larger samples and large control trials and randomized control trials required to know the effect of platelet concentrate in the OSA integration, to know the effect of platelet concentrate in the sinus augmentation, to know the effect of platelet concentrates in socket preservation, and to know the use of platelet concentrate in extraction wounds. So it requires some large follow-up studies and longer studies required, and also required that newer advanced materials like sticky bone, gummy bone, PRF block, MPM, AMPM. So we require larger follow-up and longer studies to see the real effect of these growth factor. These platelet concentrates on bone augmentation purposes. So when I was preparing a webinar on this topic, I was found an interesting article which was published in Jan 2020. That is a recent one. It was a commentary by Lynch, Neves, and Klein. The article is very interesting. It is biologics in dentistry. There's a biologic in regeneration, and they are discussed about the PRT, the platelet-rich therapies. So autologous blood concentrates focusing on the platelet-rich therapies have been extensively studied as adjuvants for wound healing and alveolar bone augmentation. After 3 decades of study, however, the platelet-rich therapies has been largely dismissed as a predictable wound healing agent in cutaneous wound healing. And also, the newer reports, like few reports suggested platelet-rich therapies shows clinically promising for bone augmentation. So most studies in both dentistry and orthopedics has shown that platelet-rich therapies exhibits inconsistent and insignificant effects on alveolar bone formation. There are various reasons for why the platelet-rich concentrates not that much favorable. Not that much showing that much effect when compared to the soft tissue on the hard tissue. When compared to the soft tissue, does not show that much effect on hard tissue. There are some reasons are saying that platelets contains the dense granules are there. The dense granules secretes ATP, serotonin. These can capable of inhibiting the alpha granules. So these alpha granules will decrease. Activation of the alpha granules, activation decrease, which led to the decrease the release of the growth factor. Some studies are showing that. And now some studies are showing that, some studies are saying that there was a DKK1 protein, which will I mention in my newer slides. So one of the component in the PRP is not often discussed is DKK1 protein. That is, Dickoff-related protein is a powerful bone inhibitor. When platelet activates, does induce the release of small amount of PGF and vascular endothelial growth factor from the alpha granule of the platelets. It also causes the rapid release of the Dickoff protein. Elder individuals and people with diabetes have higher concentration of this protein, which may contribute to tendency there towards impaired skin and bone healing. So DKK is also overexpressed in the gingiva of patients with periodontal disease, osteocytes of edentulous alveolar bone, and periapical lesions. So DKK1 is a molecule that actually impede bone healing. So DKK1 is a negative regulator for WNT pathway, which led to the shifting of the osteoblast and osteoclast activation towards the osteoclast, helps in impairs the bone healing, as this article was mentioned. That. So that's the reason I'm saying that we need large follow-up studies, and we need a larger follow-ups and the largest sample studies and randomized clinical control trials. It also says that the PRT therapies are showing inconsistent results. It's maybe due to the variance in the platelet-derived growth factors. Some are saying that 1,000 picograms of delayed to the 1,500, 15,800 picograms when compared to the recombinant PDGF, which shows a higher amount of growth factors and also produce the constant results when compared to the this. I'm saying about the pure preparation shows very promising results when compared to the semi-pure preparations. So that's the reason use of autologous blood concentrate shows positive hedge over conventional treatments due to release of growth factors, but evidence is inconsistent. Evidence is for beneficial effects is still lacking in some areas, and it requires larger studies and large sample and also randomized clinical control trials. I acknowledge all in my presentation to the pioneers of the platelet concentrates, Mox, Gag, Choukroun, Miron, Son, Kobashi, Chang, Carlos Maros, Shoram Ganati, Dawn. So all these are extensively studying the platelet concentrates and helping for especially in the implant and the regenerative dentistry, they are helping for to make the procedures very less invasive, and by using very less invasive and with predictable results. I always acknowledge them, and I always specially acknowledge to Richard Miron. He's my mentor, in especially for platelet-rich platelet-rich fibrin, bio-PRF. I completed his course on PRF from him online. So I was always thankful to him. Whenever I asked any doubt in Messenger, he always ready to help me, and he always give the reply to me. And I always special thanks to the Sitanshu Ura Bharatwaj from Delhi. Thank you, sir, for giving me the videos which I required, and you helped me a lot during my presentations also. Thank you so much, and thank you, Son, sir, because you, whenever I asked anything about CGF and Autologous fibrin glue, you always responded me in messengers, and thank you so much, sir. And Arundel, sir, he is one icon in the dentistry, and he supported me, and he I presented my first webinar and in his organization, and which is one of the largest organization in the world. Thank you, Arun Sir, and thank you, Dentist Channel Online, and thank you, Melvin. He supported me very well, and also thank you, Ruben Lobo, and thank you all who attend my webinar.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. That was indeed a detailed webinar by far that we've ever had. Hearty congratulations to you for the detailed webinar and for the fantastic webinar that you had. Before me saying that, I would like to know from our participants how they felt about the webinar. Definitely, it was a slightly longer webinar, but then for the patience that you had, that shows that how interested you were to attend this detailed webinar. And it's very rare to find a webinar which will give you so much of information, insights on one particular topic. Dr. Pavan is really a master in his topic, and whatever he spoke was so much informative. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to know how you felt with regards to with regards to the webinar. If you felt it was a very excellent session, it was a comprehensive session, it was a complete webinar. Thank you very much. Thank you. Dr. Pavan, I'd like to request you to kindly stop your screen share for a moment.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like each and every one of you to kindly post your comments so that we know how you felt about the webinar. This would help us to have another webinar if you permit us on the very same topic. We would love to have Dr. Pavan Kumar once again giving us a more detailed insight on the topic, because as you know, dentistry is a never-ending field, and it's always an evolving, technologically advanced field. For that, we need to keep ourselves updated on the latest technological advancements. And for that, we would love to have Dr. Pavan once again, but that would only be possible if you tell us how you felt about the webinar. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Those were lovely comments. Well, ladies and gentlemen, most of you all know us. We are dentistchannel.online, a dental media company based in India. Dentistchannel.online is an exclusive dental media company only, which means we cater only to the dental fraternity in India and all across the globe. My only sincere request to you would be to contribute to us by subscribing to dentistchannel.online's social media pages, that is our YouTube page, our Facebook page, or Instagram page, so that you stay in touch with us, so that we'd be able to help you, to give you information on what's new in the world of dentistry, on the upcoming webinars, courses, congresses, expos, etc. that we've planned for you. Please subscribe to dentistchannel.online. That's the only thing that we want from you, so that you stay in touch with us. E-certificate of participation for attending this webinar would be given to DCO Prime members only. If you've not registered as a DCO Prime member, I request you to kindly register as a DCO Prime member by WhatsApping us your full name on the below mentioned WhatsApp number. For the ones who are already a DCO Prime member, we welcome you on board as an esteemed Prime member. And for an e-certificate of participation, we request you to kindly mention your full name and the name of the webinar on the below mentioned WhatsApp number. Once again, for the ones who are not DCO Prime members, we request you to kindly become a DCO Prime member to avail exclusive benefits on upcoming courses, workshops, symposiums, and live webinars that we've planned for you, exclusively for you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is about the next webinar. The next webinar would be on the topic Olonex with nasal, pterygoid, and zygomatic implants. We have a very special speaker. His name is Dr. Johnson Raja James. The webinar would take place on the 4th of June at 5 p.m. Indian Standard Time. You can find the registration link to register for this webinar in the chat box. Once again, this is the WhatsApp number, just in case you haven't noted down yet. Please do note down the WhatsApp number. Please give us a quick message so that you become a DCO Prime member to avail exclusive benefits all throughout the year. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And now we move to the very important topic, that is the live question and answer session. I would request Dr. Pavan.
Yes.
Dr. Pavan, are you there? Can we start with the live question and answer session?
Yes, sure.
Yeah, Doctor, I'd request you. We have several questions from our participants. We really appreciate all those questions. However, due to short of time, I'll request you to kindly answer them in as short as possible and to the point, so that we can cover maximum questions.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
So we start from the first question from Dr. Sarkar. Is PRF alone can regenerate deep periodontal defects without using bone grafts?
Yes, there was as I mentioned that, yes, you can use PRF alone for defects, but the defect should be in 3-wall defect. I mean, infra-bony defect, not 2 walls and 1 wall defect. As a increase the number of missing the walls, the regenerative capacity of the PRF will be less. So in that condition, we have to use PRF along with bone graft material. And you used that combination for the regenerative purposes. There was an interesting article was there for comparison of PRP and PRF in JOP by Dr. A.R. Pradeep. That is the reference. You can refer it, and you use PRF as alone as a graft material for only 3 wall defects. Who
Thank you
has
very
3
much,
walls
sir.
missing?
Thank you, sir. We move to the next question. Question from Dr. Roy. What's the pharmacokinetics and dynamics behind plasma therapy showing miraculous results in the treatment of COVID-19?
Plasma therapy. Plasma therapy in COVID-19 patients. That's a different topic, but I would like to mention things here. What happens in COVID-19 patients? The COVID-19 patients, when it was infected, the person was infected with COVID-19, which led to the development of antibodies to the COVID. These antibodies, they extract these antibodies along with plasma, because the plasma contains antibodies. So these extracted using for COVID-19, but they as didn't show any significant effects. There are some results are showing that it was promising, but WHO is okay with that. ICM are also okay for the plasma therapy, because there is only one option is there. Either you also use for plasma therapy, or you go for anti-malaria drug, hydrochloroquine, or idimizumab. So there was some lot of trials were happening. The plasma therapy is nothing but you have to use antibodies that formed against the COVID-19 of the previously treated healthy COVID-19 patient who was cured. Use, and so that it will accelerate the immune system to find out and helps in the to suppress the COVID-19 symptom. COVID-19 helps in the treatment of COVID-19.
Thank you,
But
sir.
it was not significant. Yeah, sure.
Sorry. Thank you, sir. We move to the next question. Question from Dr. Abhishek Agarwal. If we put PRF around implant before placement, so how we get primary stability of implant? Because there is PRF in between bone and implant.
So you don't need to worry about that, about the primary stability. You will get the primary stability as you use a PRF liquid. You can coat the you will prepare the i-PRF, or you will take the PRF and then coat the PRF along with around the implant and place it. If there was no issues, then it won't show any effect. The effects are nil on the primary stability, because the primary stability always depends upon various factors, like it's your undersized osteotome, and your implant is active, passive, the thread structure. It was depend. It's not that depend. And these studies were, some of these studies were showing that it shows promising results as in the House integration. But I said that till now the systematic review only mentioned about the infrabony defects and the soft tissue wound healing.
Thank you, sir. Next question from Dr. Harsh Parikh. Does any age or gender affect the platelet concentration?
Yes, I mentioned there was an article in by Anika Dam. You can get it free text article from the ResearchGate. Anika Dam, Richard Miron, PRF on age. Yes, younger age, you will get lower size, less size membranes, but more cells. Older age, more size membranes, less cells, and females. More size was more, membrane size was more, per unit area cells were less, and older, less cells, so larger membranes. So I'm giving the reference Anika Dam and Richard Miron. Just check ResearchGate. You will get free test article about gender, age, and also time of shifting of the blood from the area of collection to the centrifugation.
Thank you, sir. We move to the next question. What is the shelf life of different platelet concentrates?
Platelet shelf life is 7 to 10 days. So PRF concentrates also up to 14 days. Some results are showing that it releases up to 23 days. Some studies are showing that. But one thing I was mentioned that normally it is 10 days. 10 days as per the Choukroun's Miron. So that's the reason the albumin PRF comes to increase the shelf life of PRF helps in the using of a biological membrane for augmentation purposes. For requires augmentation purpose, you require 4 to 6, at least 3 to 4 months. The membrane should stay, especially for pass principle. You have to apply the pass principle. So that's the reason the newer version, the Albumin PRF came, and it shows the rat model shows up to the persistence of the membrane up to 4 months.
Thank you, sir. Next question from Dr. Devashri Nevaskar. Is there glass coating even in titanium tubes? What activates the clotting pathway in T-PRF?
Any PRF, either it is a glass coated, titanium coated, everything is there. Intrinsic pathway of coagulation will activate. Intrinsic pathway of coagulation that led to the activation. I mean, throw starts with the Ekman factor because Ekman factor is a glass. And another thing is oxidation also. The oxygen also carries the path, activation. So always led to the intrinsic pathway of coagulation. Whether which tube is used, intrinsic pathway of coagulation that led to the activation of common path, that led to the activation of prothrombin to thrombin. Thrombin converts the fibrinogen to fibrin, led to the formation of PRF.
Thank you, sir. Next question. Is there any effect of blood groups on PRF formation? Is there any study for that?
Nothing was, there is nothing, no effect, effect of, as per, there was no literature about the blood groups and the PRF thing. And because the PRF is mainly depends upon the platelets, the number of the platelets and the fibrin structure. That's it.
Thank you, sir. Next question from Dr. Vijeta Vyas. Duration of time PRF membrane can be kept before placement at surgical site.
You have to move, you have to shift the membrane as early as possible. As some study was showing that the growth factors was released within 1 hour, and almost 75% of growth factors released in 1 hour only after preparation, and it up to belongs to 2 weeks or 90% of growth factors released in 1 hour. So make the PRF membrane and shift it. How much it is your time, faster the shift, and faster the result, good result will be more. You will get obtain good result.
Thank you, sir. Next question. For how much time we can keep part before mixing to bone graft?
As I said, that is, you take the PRF liquid, and the PRF liquid is Alb-PRF. So normal clotting time is 5 to 10 minutes. So the clot will be stay up to 10 minutes as a liquid. Okay, but you can mix, and then you can mix with bone graft material, and use bone graft material, or just take the liquid and mix with the bone graft material, wait for 5 minutes. So then after 5 to 10 minutes, the coagulation cascade system, the fibrin network which starts, and it led to the formation of sticky bone. Okay, so that's the reason what Son mentioned, that you have to add some exudate from the CGF membrane or exudate from the PRF membrane, which contains a thrombin. So these thrombin accelerate the reaction very fastly. So the red color bone, which I mentioned, the yellow color sticky bone, red color sticky bone, the yellow color sticky bone will form 5 to 10 minutes, and red bone sticky bone is formed within 1 to 2 minutes, because we are adding the extrude from the CGF, which accelerate the reaction very fast. So you will get sticky bone within 1 to 2 minutes. So it is all depends on your clotting system, clotting time.
Thank you, sir. Next question. Which is the better PRF for periodontal therapy?
There was no better for any periodontal. There was no better anything. You can use Alb-PRF. Okay, because the Alb-PRF is you can use alone, and advanced platelet-rich fibrin you can use, and advanced platelet-rich fibrin has a more amount of release of growth factors, but the results was not statistically significant. That is the more important. Even though it is statistically significant, but not clinically significant. As a end of the practice, it is clinically significant. Is very important. So till now, the various authors pointed various preparations, right? But the authors who created advanced preparations, they said that their advanced preparations are better than their older preparations. So, for example, Choukroun prepared Alb-PRF, A-PRF, A-PRF plus, i-PRF, i-PRF plus, S-PRF. He is saying that S-PRF is the best when compared to all the preparations. Now, come to the Miron Bio-PRF, liquid and solid. He said liquid is solid, liquid, CPRF. He is saying that CRPRF is the best. and PRP, PRF, PRF is best. So there was no protocol, I mean, which is better and which is right, because there was no study done at which is better and which is dead. But you can use normal PRF membrane for your periodontal defects. As I mentioned in systematic review by Miron, normal that was study was done on PRF, L-PRF only. So you can use it, it will shows good results in infraoral defects. Next.
Next question, sir. Is the speed and time for preparation of PRF same for all systems, or it may vary with company to company?
It may vary with the company to company. That's the reason I mentioned the older version articles mentioned 400 grams for PRP preparation. And the newer versions, in those who are read PRF in regenerative dentistry, those articles from Choukroun and Miron, the center RCF is 700 grams, 700 grams. But when you read the article of PRF from 2001, 2003, 2004, and and from the articles from the Cartinoloni, so all these articles mentioned the 400 grams. Why? Because the 400 grams were they are used in intraspleen, which is FDA approved centrifuge, and they used centrifuge. Yeah, and the rotor radius was different, and rotor angulation was different. So it was vary with different centrifuges, and that's the reason Miron and Cortiloni they came one article in JOP. It will available free test in ResearchGate. They are saying that if somebody did a research on PRF, please mention what type of centrifugation you are using, what is the angulation of the tube, and what is the rotor radius distance, and also where did you measure this RCF? You measure the RCF at upper part of the tube, or you measure the RCF at lower part of the tube, or you measure the RCF at the clot. You should mention that. That will helps the other people who are working on PRF or platelet concentrates in the future.
Thank you, sir. That brings us to the end of the live question and answer session. Once again, on behalf of Team DentistChannel.online, I'd like to thank you for the excellent presentation and for the fantastic webinar, packed with so much of knowledge and information. We are really happy to have you as an esteemed speaker for this very webinar.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dentist Channel Online, and thank you, Rubin, and thank you, Melvin. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Doctor. With that, we come to an end. Dear participants, thank you so much for participating for this webinar. We hope you would be joining us for the next webinar on the topic All on X with nasal pterygoid implants. Please do register for the webinar. You can find the link either in the chat box now or on www.dentistchannel.online. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. May you all have a good day.
Thank you.